Hi everyone, I'm back with another video today about my fountain pen inks. So in the last video I showed you all my fountain pen collection and all the pens I've acquired over the years, and then today I thought I'd show you all about my inks, as well as how I store them, how I swatch them, and keep them organized. So this is pretty much everything that I use for my inks. I have my ink swatching binder, and then I also have these ammo boxes that I got from the ink journal. Is it Inkaholics? I can't remember, but I'll link down below. They have these boxes, and sometimes they also come with like a selection of inks as well that you can get with them. So I use these for storage, and then I have this really old Caboodles, if you remember the brand. I have one of these to store my larger inks, and I'll show you those. And then I have some extra supplies here that I'll go through what I use them for and why I have them. Okay, so let's start with storage options. So the two main ways that I buy inks are ink samples, and these are usually in these 5 milliliter like sample vials, and these you can find readily available like online, but you can also get them filled with ink, and these you can get from a bunch of different places. Like I said, inkjournal.com has samples. You can also get some from Goulet pens, and I'll have all of that linked down below for you if you're interested. But so these samples, they're in 5 milliliter little vials, and then I put these are like paper hole punch reinforcers, and I put them on top, and then I just take a little bit of the ink and just put it over the reinforcer, and then that way I know the color within each of the vials when I look at it from the top. And these are stored in ammo boxes. So these are 12 or 20 gauge ammo boxes from MTM Case Guard. I'm not too sure about what ammo usually goes in here, but these are really, really great for storing inks. It keeps them dry and out of the light, as long as you keep them like within, like your closet or a drawer. And it also keeps them very well organized and stops them from tipping over. And then these little stickers that I put on top came with these boxes from Ink Journal. So that's where I got everything that's in here. And then my other storage method is a bit unconventional, but I use an old Caboodles little guy. And this just, again, makes sure that the inks stay upright and they stay dry and out of the light. I usually keep all of my inks in a drawer, again, out of the light, just because that's, I think, what's best for them to not like oxidize or change color too much. So in here I have the syringe set from Goulet, not usually in here, but so in here are all of my larger ink bottles, and these again are all kept upright in here. And I'll go really quickly through like what inks I have in here and why I chose these larger bottles of inks. I also have in here the Ferris wheel press little like Ferris wheel holder for their 38 milliliter, 18 milliliter, I'm not sure, but they're like smaller bottles, not the round bottles. So I have the little like Ferris wheel in here. I used to keep this ink out like kind of just for display, but again, I wanted to keep my inks out of the light, so now she just kind of lives in here. So I guess I'll start with her, or with this ink, sorry. So this ink is from Ferris Wheel Press, and this is the Grape Ice Pop ink. Absolutely love this ink, and I got it because I really love darker purple inks, and so I wanted to have a bunch of this ink available. And then I have the Colorverse Anita, the little 5 milliliter bottle, and I got this because that's my nickname, Anita, so I thought it was really fitting. And I also am a scientist, also very fitting, so it just seemed like a wonderful little pairing. I really love this color. It's like a light pink. I'll show you swatches of everything later on, so don't worry about that. Then I have 2 inks from Navalar Explorer. I have the Dark Forest, which is a dark green ink, and then I have Orchid Flower, which is like a darker magenta, fuchsia, pinky color. And these two, actually, funny story, I'll tell it now. I got at the Miami Fountain Pen Show last year, and it was the last day of the pen show, and they were trying to get rid of their stock, so I got these on sale. There were like 3 for, I don't even remember how much. So my fiance chose one color, and then I chose these 2. And so he has his own Navalar ink. And these are 20 milliliter bottles. Then I have a Waterman Intense Black ink, a 50 milliliter bottle. This is just our standard black ink. Works really well in my vintage fountain pen, so I keep this just as like, you know, everybody needs a good black ink. And then I have the Diamine Graphite ink. This is my absolute favorite, like dark gray, moody gray color. Really love this ink. Works really well. And that one is a 30 milliliter bottle for this one. And then last but not least, I have one of my favorite inks. I have the Andorilium Indigo Bunting Blue. This is a 1.5 ounce bottle. I do not know how many milliliters is in here, but really beautiful. The bottle like seals very well, which I'm very thankful for. And this is a really great handcrafted ink that they use, and I also got this one at the Miami Fountain Pen Show maybe like 3 or 4 years ago. So great ink. So all of these live in my little, did I put them in right? There she goes. So they live in here full time, and it works really great because if I need any of these inks, they're really easy to transport with my little caboodles, but they also are pretty much out of the light full time. So I won't go through each of these in the ammo boxes, just because there is quite a few of them, and they are, there's just a heck of a lot of them. But again, I get these samples from Goulet pens. I've gotten some from Ink Journal. And then I also have these little guys here. These are the Cherry Blossom collection from Jenny Bick in Washington, D.C. So they sell these in their little 2 milliliter vials. So I have 5 of these, when the rest of them are from either Ink Journal or Goulet pens. Okay, so let's get into the interesting part, looking at the pretty colors. So I have this ink swatching binder, and I got the idea from one of the Navalar workers at the fountain pen show. I was talking to her about inks as I was buying the bottles of inks before the show finished, and I told her that I didn't really have a great way of organizing my ink collection. As I was going through and picking my colors, it was kind of difficult for me to decide which ones I, wanted to fill in my collection. And so she told me about this grand idea, and I was like, thank you so much, this is wonderful. So these are ink swatching cards. These are from Waringal, but a lot of different brands make ink swatching cards. I'll show you some that she gave me from Navalar Express as well. And so I bought a bunch of these online, and again, I'll try my best to link everything down below, so if you're interested in the ink swatching cards. But so these, what they come is on one side they have like a wax figure, and then you can swatch the color down, and then they have a line on the other side where you can just write the ink, the company, whatever information you want to write on them. And I use my Pilot Iro Utsushi pen. This is a dip pen, and I just use this. I really quickly dip the color in, and then I'll write the name and brand of the color. And then to swatch each color, I just use a cotton swab, and I'll dip the cotton swab into the ink, and then I'll just go over. And I think I have a TikTok video, or maybe I'll post it on Shorts, of the whole process when I went through this entire ink collection. So yeah, you can watch that if you're like interested in how I actually did all of these ink swatches. So let's go through and see what is my collection. This is just a piece of paper that I colored in the front. I spent one day and just took some markers and made it. Yeah, so in here I have these Amazon Basics like business card holder sleeves, and that's where I put all of the ink swatches. And then I have extra ink swatching cards here, just in case I want to swatch some ink. So I tried my best to color coordinate all of these inks. So you can see, like, I started out with like the reds and pinks, and then it goes into the rainbow colors. So I have Colorverse Mars Attacks, Robert Oster Rose Gilt Tint, Stipula Sweet Pink, Navalar Explorer Orchid Flower, Platinum Lavender Black, Octopus Write and Draw Pink Gazelle. I have the Sailor Ink Studio 130. Not a big fan of this ink. It doesn't really write that dark. Colorverse Einstein Ring, Colorverse Anita, Noodler's Purple Heart. I'm not even going to attempt that name, but absolutely stunning. I believe this is from, these are all from the Cherry Blossom ink sampler from Jenny Bick in Washington, D.C. So all of these inks are also swatched here. This is their swatch card that came with the ink set. So we have Sailor Shikiori Sakura Mori, another one from this same brand. Another Sailor Shikiori in Yozakura. I'm so sorry. And then another one in Fuji Sugata. So these are really beautiful little inks. And then now we're moving into the purples. So I have a Sailor Ink Studio 150, Robert Oster Violet Dreams, Diamine Tyrian Purple, Deatramentus Alexander Hamilton. This was my favorite ink for a very long time. I still absolutely love this ink. Sailor Ink Studio 123, another one of my favorite inks for kind of a lighter purple variation. Rohr and Klinger Gabiosa, Robert Oster Barossa Gilt. I have the Ferris Wheel Press Grapes Ice Pop here, so you can see it's kind of similar to the Alexander Hamilton, a deep purple, but it's kind of more pinky undertone. Deatramentus Aubergine, and then Wearing Gold, The Mind. So now we're moving into more of the grays, and I tried my best to make it so that it kind of faded into like more grayish colors. So I have a Sailor Urameku Ganju Ink Journal Holiday Blend in Snowmageddon. So this is a color that they had specifically for their holiday collection. So whenever you get their ink sets, you might be able to get some of these like colors that you can't find anywhere else. I have Diamine Graphite. And then I used to have this ink. I no longer have it. Not sure what brand it was. All it had in the front was this triangle with a line through it, but it kind of turned bad, so I didn't keep that ink. I have a Troublemaker ink in Petrichor, Van Diemen's Laughing Kukabuna Caress, Robert Oster Black Violet, and then I have a Robert Oster Schwartz Rose. You shouldn't be here. Okay, moving right along. I have my blues. I have a Sailor Yuki Akari, Diamine Arctic Blue, Robert Oster Soda Pop Blue, Sailor Shikiori in Zaza, really great color, Franklin Christoph in Spanish Blue, Anderillium Blue Ringed Octopus. This is the one that I have in the larger bottle. I have Waterman Mysterious Blue, Anderillium in Indigo Bunting Blue. Ooh, wait, this is the one I have in the bigger one, not this one, although this one is really pretty. I believe I have this one in a larger bottle. Then I have my greens and kind of orangey type colors. Navalar Explorer Dark Forest, Vinta Inks, and Sea Kelp. Robert Oster Heart of Gold. So some of these inks I'll also mention are like shimmer inks, and they're a little bit harder to tell when you have like the glare from the like sheets, but as long as you take them out, you can see exactly like what the color will look like. I have Sailor Menyo Ume, Platinum Classic Sepia Black, Pannonia Zold-like, Colorverse Comet SL9. This is the color that I currently have inked in my Vanishing Point. So if you see any of the journaling videos, that's the color. Don't know how to pronounce that. Tachia Ukuyo Ink Series 2. That's really bright. And then these are some of the Navalar Express swatch cards that she gave me, and these are some of my absolute favorite colors that I have, so I just swatched them because she only gave me 4. So this is Ferris Wheel Press Grace Ice Pop and Sailor Ink Studio 123, and then this is the Indigo Bunting Blue, this same color here, and then this is the Navalar Express Orchid Flower. So those are like 4 of my favorite inks, and I just use them here. And these are, again, really awesome. You can also tell that the different paper has different effects with the ink. So for example, here, the Sailor Ink Studio, you can see a lot more of the blue undertone in this ink on the Navalar paper than you can on this Wearing Gold paper. So you can kind of see it looks a lot more purple in this paper, and it's not as noticeable that it has kind of a dual color. So it's something to think about whenever you're doing these swatches. You also want to make sure that you're swatching it on whatever paper you're actually writing with, because inks do change how they present themselves just based on the paper that you're using. So yeah, those are all of my inks that I have. If you are curious about any of them or would like any samples, I'm more than happy to share, especially the larger bottles. But yeah, those are all of the inks that are in both of not only the ammo boxes, but also in here, as well as how I swatch them. So please let me know if you have any questions or would like to see any videos in the future. Thank you so much. Bye!